Just imagine what happens when we see the first XRP spot ETF approved in the US. Just imagine what happens, because we now are starting to see numbers pouring in from CME Group highlighting the growth of XRP futures. Again, these are futures. These are not spot-based ETF numbers, but these are futures ETFs. Okay, that's what these are. Now, if we're thinking about these futures, we're looking at the growth here around XRP. So right off the rip, we have August was hot, but the crypto space was hotter. Record $36 billion in open interest for crypto futures and options on August 22nd. 1,006 large open interest holders. XRP, Solana, and Micro Ether futures open interest hit all-time highs. Institutional activity is broadening beyond just Bitcoin. And yes, it's happening. XRP had $8.1 billion tied to it. And I know that that's not a crazy number compared to, like, for an example, Bitcoin had 168.9 billion, Ether had 127.4 billion. Even Solana had a little bit over that 9.2 billion, right? But this is futures. The demand is there. We now have numbers in front of us that are telling asset management companies and ETF issuers, hey, guess what? There's $8.1 billion worth of demand for XRP futures. Imagine what kind of demand there will be for spot. Because I don't think that I need to tell you guys this, but futures are a little bit more riskier than spot. So I do think that the spot could see, significant volume and value tied to it, much more than the future side. But this is a very, very good number to base it off of. But just imagine what happens when we get the first XRP spot ETF approved in the US. It's going to be huge. Now, we also got an update from Brad Garlinghouse that Good Morning Crypto reposted, and this was XRP futures contracts were the fastest ever, just over 3 months, to hit $1 billion in open interest. That's right. XRP futures were the fastest ever to hit $1 billion in open interest. Again, another stat line that's going to tell these big players, hey, lock in now or you will get locked out, because the demand is there, and the first player that gets their ETF approved is going to reap the rewards of being first. I'm telling you guys that right now. We are going to see it. Now, let's talk about RLUSD, because RLUSD is going crazy. $700 million now. We are over $700 million for RLUSD. Its market cap now is nearing $800 million per on-chain RWA tracker. It grew 18% in the last 30 days. Will XRP compete in the stablecoin rail race? Now, here we have RLUSD on RWA.xyz, $700 and almost $10 million, up almost 16% in the last 30 days. Holders up 3% in the last 30 days, almost 6,000. $3.33 billion in monthly transfer volume. This is up about 2%. And by the way, just going off the transfer volume on the monthly, we could see that July was one of the best months for transfer volume. August was pretty close to it, right? These were very close months. But about $3 billion has been, the main focus for like the last 2 months. I'm watching September closely because so far we are at about roughly $401 million. It's not a very good start to the month, but I do think that this is significantly going to increase, especially with a lot of the recent announcements, which we'll talk about. In terms of holders, again, this has been steadily rising more and more. Very similar to the transfer volume, I do suspect that this is also going to start to grow in a big way, especially with a lot of the recent announcements. And then also the tokenized asset value, you guys already see it. Step functions happening ever since the beginning of the summer, and this has been just growing rapidly. I mean, we added over $400 million to RLUSD in the last 3 months, which is just, it's wild. It's wild to see this because, again, a lot of people were questioning how successful is RLUSD going to be? A lot of people thought that it wasn't going to be this successful. And I feel like we are now starting to kind of shock people. I think that we're starting to, show everyone like, listen, this is why you need to focus on what Ripple is doing, because they are changing the game. They are a very large player. They are working with some of the biggest names out there around TradFi. So what Ripple is doing, you need to pay attention to. And also with RLUSD, we just got another big announcement. The next chapter for RLUSD starts in Africa. We're proud to bring our trusted USD-backed stablecoin to the continent with new partners with Chipper Cash app, Valor.com, and Yellow Card app. Together, we'll unlock new potential for cross-border payments and financial infrastructure. This is just the start. Our pilot projects with MC Social Venture in Kenya are already using RLUSD to create climate-resilient financial solutions for farmers, providing vital drought and rainfall insurance through smart contracts. Again, when we're thinking about these use cases for RLUSD, people need to start paying attention to this, because this is real world adoption. This is real world utility for a stablecoin that is on a completely different level than almost every other stablecoin in this space. RLUSD is starting to see significant adoption around it and moves being made around it as well. What Ripple's doing here is going to make sure that RLUSD is a top 5 stablecoin. I'm very excited about these moves. Now, we did hear from the SVP at stablecoins with Ripple. This is Jack McDonald. Now exceeding a $700 million market cap, RLUSD is already powering enterprise finance. From payments to tokenization to collateral across crypto and traditional markets, as global institutional demand for RLUSD rises, Ripple is excited to work with our partners in Africa to kick off distribution on the continent. Driving utility, scaling globally, RLUSD is on the move. Now, this reminds me back to one move recently, and we're going to go in depth on this announcement here in a second, but do you guys remember that announcement on August 21st? The $300 billion stablecoin market is set to grow into the trillions. Together with SBI VC, we're bringing RLUSD to Japan in early 2026, offering users and institutions a trusted, regulated, and fully backed stablecoin built for enterprise use cases. Again, if we're thinking about what just got announced, Africa, Japan, the US, even the UK, Ripple has been talking in the UK with some very prominent names around stablecoin issuance. Guys, Ripple is going global. RLUSD is going global. You need to be watching these moves, because we are about to witness RLUSD growth in a massive way, especially when it comes to some of these markets. Now, this one we have to wait until early 2026. With the Africa one, let's dive on in and let's talk about it a little bit. So again, here we have just the initial announcement, which we already talked about. They also talk about the $700 million and how, ever since the launch, global adoption has been really, kind of just growing around RLUSD. RLUSD sets the standard for stablecoins, combining innovative functionality with the regulatory rigor and credibility of a New York Department of Financial Services issued New York Limited Purpose Trust Company, further highlighting Ripple's leadership in fostering trust and transparency in digital assets. Now, we already read this quote from Jack McDonald, but we're seeing demand for RLUSD from our customers and other key institutional players globally, and we are excited to now begin distribution in Africa through our local partners. We also recently enabled RLUSD in Ripple payments, extending the breadth of stablecoins available in our cross-border payment solution to better serve our customers in Africa and worldwide. After establishing our partnership with Ripple earlier this year to support faster, cheaper, more efficient cross-border payments into Africa, we were keen to make RLUSD available to our clients as soon as possible. This is from Chipper Cash. RLUSD is uniquely positioned to drive institutional, again, the focus here is institutional, use of blockchain technology across Africa and broader global markets, including through cross-border payments. As the largest crypto exchange in Africa, Valor is committed to providing our customers with access to compliant and high-quality digital assets. The listing of RLUSD reflects our broader strategy to support trusted stablecoin options that serve the evolving needs of both institutional and retail clients seeking a reliable digital dollar for a growing range of use cases. The listing reinforces our commitment to providing the most reliable and compliant payment infrastructure across Africa and the emerging markets. This is from Yellow Card. Our customers demand access to stable digital assets that are useful for secure cross-border payments and treasury management. Offering a regulatory compliant stablecoin like RLUSD is a natural step in our mission to deliver trusted enterprise-grade solutions. RLUSD is ideal for a number of enterprise financial use cases, including facilitating instant settlement of cross-border payments, accessing liquidity for remittances and treasury operations, integrating with decentralized finance protocols, reliably bridging between fiat currencies and the crypto ecosystem, ensuring seamless and efficient transitions when entering on-ramping or exiting off-ramping the crypto space, and providing collateralization for trading tokenized RWAs such as commodity securities and treasuries on-chain. In addition to RLUSD being made available in Africa through these new partnerships, Ripple's stablecoin is being used to underpin extreme weather event relief pilot projects led by Mercy Corp's Ventures in Kenya. In the first project, it serves as drought insurance for farmers, held in escrow and released via smart contracts if satellite data confirms a drought is likely to occur. A second pilot project will utilize RLUSD to back a parametric rainfall insurance solution, delivering similar support during periods of extreme rainfall. Ripple continues to work with top-tier partners around the world to make RLUSD globally available. Again, that's their focus, because what we have been witnessing so far over just the last couple months, and we're not just talking about this one, is more and more access to RLUSD. And you might be thinking to yourselves right now, well, yeah, this is great for Ripple and RLUSD, but what about XRP? Well, again, and I've talked about this on multiple occasions, if we are starting to see more and more adoption of RLUSD, if we're starting to see the stablecoin itself getting adopted, accepted, the exposure to it starting to gain more and more as well, that will lead to more transactions, more volume, more value moving over these networks that RLUSD is issued out on. And yeah, sure, I get it, right? Ethereum has most of the RLUSD supply. Makes sense. Ethereum is one of the most liquid networks in the space at this moment. That will change. RLUSD's growth will lead to a much larger impact on the XRP ledger, which will also create demand for XRP, which will also impact the value of XRP in a very positive way. This is the beginning stages, and like I said, we need to focus on all of the announcements that happened over just the last couple days. One of the biggest ones was Thune's Payments, right? They partnered up with Ripple. This was for cross-border payments utilizing RLUSD. This was a big announcement because this confirmed that these two were working together. And then also on top of that, on August 27th, we saw another big update that the Horizon RWA market by Aave Labs, RLUSD is a crucial piece for this. It just went live on August 27th. This is DeFi. This is a major DeFi protocol launching this RWA market where RLUSD is a crucial piece of it. And then we also saw the Gemini credit card, which also allowed for RLUSD support for US spot trading. Again, if we're thinking about this, this was just over the last roughly week and a half. This is what we want to see. This is something that I've always said. Focus on the announcements. Focus on how close to one another these announcements are becoming as well, because that's telling us that adoption is accelerating. It's heating up more and more. The growth around RLUSD has to be studied. It has to be focused on because, again, 2025 has been a tremendous year so far for the stablecoin. And I think that it only gets much bigger leading into the end of the year as well, especially with a lot more regulatory discussions happening and moves being made, especially with the, Market Clarity Act. That's a huge one for market structure bill. So again, we need to lock in here. We need to understand how these stablecoins are going to impact these underlying networks. We need to know why these stablecoins are so important to really focus on, because again, these stablecoins so far have been the liquidity for everything happening around crypto. Trading, DeFi, even institutional DeFi will need stablecoins. Tokenization needs stablecoins. Everything needs stablecoins in this market. especially even to bridge the gap. So if we're thinking about that, this is all incredible for the underlying networks, which, by the way, most people will never even notice. They'll only notice the stablecoin. They won't even know the network. They don't know the underlying technology, just like almost everything we use today. This is the beginning stages of mass adoption, especially announcements like this one, especially with the additional announcement under this, which is other additional projects, which is based around just, insurance and, climate resilient financial solutions. These types of use cases kind of get overlooked, but these will lead to mass adoption. These will lead to more announcements similar to this happening as well. So we love to see these types of moves being made. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.